Morning, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Love 500, and welcome back to this one, Project Christian the Return, Project Christian the Sequel, Project Christian Part 2. As this is day one. You've seen the car in the video that I showed you last weekend, which had really terrible sound, so I'm sorry about that. I was filming with my phone. So we need to go around the car again, just quickly assess what needs to be done. And we did it obviously quickly before, we talked about it a little bit, but let's have a proper look around it and I'll show you exactly what needs doing. Let's go. Okay, so Project Christian, the sequel. So, the bumper is mainly dirty. The only thing I can see on it is a bit of a scab just there, which we'll have a go at. We'll rub it down, maybe put a bit of filler on it, push it, heat it up, push it back. It's going to need a bit of paint on the bumper anyway. We got scraping there. We have got a broken tab here, which may be okay as it is, but I will plastic weld stroke hot glue that, or rather hot staple stroke plastic weld that. I think I've sourced a bonnet and a wing relatively locally, which I'm hoping to go and pick up tomorrow. Someone reached out to me on Instagram that I believe is a subscriber to the channel. I know they're a subscriber to the channel. I think they told me that. So I'm going to be part exchanging a brand new pattern part wing. I've got to see if I can find a bracket that I can give him. If there's a good bracket on here, he's asked me to actually rivet it on as well. He's repairing a black car at the moment, and he bought a grey bonnet and a grey wing that he was going to get painted, and he's offered it to me. He actually offered it to me for free if I could paint a bumper, a wing and a bonnet for him, and I said my painting skills are certainly not up to that. And he had faith in me. He had a lot more faith in me than I had in myself. I can't go to that extent with painting, although he said black is an easy colour. I'm not so sure about that, but outside in January it ain't happening. I probably wouldn't even attempt it, not all three parts, maybe one part, but not all three. So I said, look, I'm happy to give you cash. So we've done a deal for cash, plus I'm going to give him that wing. I've just got to check that wing as well before I go and see him tomorrow, just to make sure it is okay. Otherwise I'll have to give him some more money. But what do we got to do? So yeah, so hopefully I've sourced that. The door is being elusive. There is one in Birmingham. I'm not going to Birmingham to pick a door up, no way. So there are grey doors around, so my thoughts are, should I get another grey door in a different grey and paint it, put it on the car, strip it down, no actually not put it on the car, strip it down, take all the trim off, all the bits of rubber, everything off, and repaint it in the correct colour. I've got one can of paint to do the repairs that I've got to do, and I'd have to get at least another 2 cans of paint to do it. So obviously there's a cost implication to that. But this door I think is beyond saving. It's dented in here, which I possibly could pull out, and I might even have a go actually. And where else was it dented in? So down here, there's no, it's all dented here as well. No, I can't. I mean, you know, possibly I could, but it'd just take too long. And then I've got to paint it anyway, so I might as well get a decent door and just paint it. As I say, that's the only door that's available, unfortunately. Unless one happens to come up within the next few days, that's what I'm going to have to do. So, just looking at this in a little bit more detail, we'll have a look under the bonnet in a minute. So this here is dented, dent there. It's not dented, well it is dented a little bit there maybe, but we're going to just make this as good as we can. They are not expecting a perfect finish, so I'm going to make this as good as I can. What I don't want to do is, obviously, at the moment this is protruding, the rubber. I don't know if this is because of the door or whether this has been pushed in. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to get me welding things on there, and I'm going to take the paint right off, and I'm going to try and weld to the edges here and pull it out. So I don't know whether that's why that's not sitting flush, because that's pushed down. I think it's probably, rather than being pushed in, it doesn't feel, it does a little bit maybe. Yeah, possibly a little bit. So I'll have a go at that and see what I can do. But as I say, they're not expecting an absolutely perfect job. They want me to do the best job I can. They are on I say they're on a budget. They don't want to spend any money, but of course they've got to. This bit, there's a dent there. That's got to be pulled out. So again, we'll sorry, I wasn't pointing at it. There's a bit of a dent there. Not a lot. A little bit of a dent. We'll pull that out. We'll rub all this down. We'll paint all that. And then the worst part is probably this bit. So we've got to get in there, pull that out, push some of it down. It's dented just here. It hasn't affected the arch line. It doesn't seem to have touched that arch line. It's gone below it. So hopefully it should be a relatively easy job to rub that down, pull that out, sorry, I'm zooming in accidentally. Yeah, get the welding thing in there, pull that out. I might even be able to get behind. If I take the wheel off and the arch line, I might even be able to get behind and push and hammer it as well. The bumper's a little bit chewed up. Keep zooming, sorry, keep putting my finger on the zoom button. A little bit chewed up, so that will have to be rubbed down and again painted. Hopefully the bracket's okay. If not, I'll have to buy one of those, although I might have one because I did buy a set recently, didn't I? No, I think I used that one. So I may have to get one of those as well. So there's always going to be other bits that we don't know about. The rest of the bumper is fine, and this side hasn't been touched. Suspension is all good. It drives perfect. Although I am going to get it up on ramps and have a look, and I told them they need to get the tracking done, so if they want me to go and get the tracking done, I will. While it's up on the ramps, I'll just ask them to have a good look at it underneath, but I'll put it up on my ramps and crawl underneath with the torch and have a look as well. Let me just get the bonnet up and we'll show you what needs to be done under there. Right, so under the bonnet, the only damage under the bonnet, apart from the headlight, as far as we can see, we won't know until we get the bumper off, but we've got... This is all bent. Now it's only this bit, and this part of the front panel is really flexible. So I think I'm going to be able to get a pair of mole grips or even a pair of pliers. Look at all the mud in here. Clay. I'm hoping that we're just going to be able to take the headlight out, hopefully repair that headlight. I'm hoping it's just the lugs, but it may be the casing, so it may need a new headlight as well. And we might be able to repair the lugs on that, and then hopefully just straighten that up, because as far as I'm aware it's on this corner, so as far as I'm aware there's no other damage to the front panel, just that bit. So I should be able to get that back into shape, so we haven't got to change front panels or anything like that, so that will keep the cost down. And that, if that's not enough, is about it. Yeah, so once I get this repaired, once I get a new wing on and a new bonnet on, and then of course a door, it will already start to look much better. The wheel is really badly scuffed, and I'm probably not even going to attempt. I might try and rub it down a little bit and put some paint on it. The trouble is the paint doesn't really match. It's all right for touching up the odd bit, but not for that amount. But I'll try it and see what it looks like. So the bonnet, I suppose, a body shop would be able to fix that bonnet. It's bent over. Yeah, it's bent over, but a body shop could fix that. So what I'm actually going to try and do, once that's cleaned up, I'm actually going to see if I can get some money for it. Even if I get 40 quid for it, that's 40 quid I can give them back. And I've said to them, the door there, the door skin's knackered, obviously, but everything in the door and on the door is good. So they've all got a value to them. So what I've said to them, and they've said, no, don't worry about it, but I am going to do this because I know they're on a budget, and I hope they don't mind me mentioning the fact that they've got to borrow the money to be able to pay for this to be fixed. So I'm trying to keep the cost down as much as possible. Now I know it's my time. Let me just turn the camera around. So yeah, my time is, to all intents and purposes free. As much as I don't run this as a business. This isn't my business. I do run it as a business for tax purposes. I have an accountant, etc., etc. But I don't. This isn't my. You know, I've got a full-time job. I do this in my spare time. I've got a reputation locally that for customer service and good, decent cars at a really good price, which is why I never have trouble selling them. Lots of people message me and say, "Where do you advertise your cars? I've had my car up for sale for weeks and I can't sell it." I've got people queuing up for pre-facelift cars. I lose some of those customers because I can't do them fast enough, and they obviously have to go elsewhere and probably pay more money. But my reputation means more to me than me earning money. So I in my previous video, I guesstimated I was going to charge them about 400, and someone said, "You're doing yourself. You shouldn't be doing that. That's if you spend 4 days on it, that's only £100 a day." I will spend probably more. I'm sure more than 4 full days on it, especially when I'm talking to you like this. But I've actually told them 300. I'm going to charge them £300 for doing it. That is all. If I have to do any running around, going picking up parts, I will charge for petrol. And I'm adding, at the moment, 20 quid on for sundries, i.e. sandpaper, filler, that type of stuff. If I have to spend any more, I will add that to the bill. But for the actual labour, for me doing it, I'm only charging £300. Now, they are so appreciative of the fact that I'm doing it and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. That means a lot. And so when I don't have a buyer ready for a particular car, and I advertise it on the Facebook mums group that I use to advertise my cars on, people always pipe up and say, "Oh, Paul's great. I bought 2 cars off of him and he bought 1 car for my daughter, it's really good, blah, blah, blah." I always get comments like that, which is always good for me selling the cars. That to me is worth more than me making an extra couple of £100 on this. It's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. So you may say I'm doing myself. I don't see it like that. I see it as customer service. They've been a customer, they bought the car, the girl has passed her driving test, a week later has rolled it. Luckily she wasn't hurt, and I'm trying to help them out. That's me. That's just me. So that's it as far as that's concerned. So, you know, please don't say I'm doing myself. I'm not doing myself. I'm helping people out. That's it at the end of the day. That's all I'm worried about. I don't do this for the money, as I said. I don't need to do this for money. Extra money's nice, but I don't need the money. I've got a relatively well-paid job. Yeah, so I think we need to get on with it, don't we? So first thing I'm going to do is get this bumper off, get the headlight out, have a look at that, put that to one side. We won't bother repairing it in a minute, but first thing I'm going to do is repair this front bumper. That'll be the first job of the day. I've got some paint. It's going to be about 10 degrees today. I've got my heat gun. I'm gonna have to do painting in this weather, unfortunately. There's no rain forecast for the next week, so we should be okay. And the temperatures are slightly above average of what they would be normally this time of year. So fingers crossed we can get a half decent paint job out of it. I believe that this is a relatively easy colour to paint and match, hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's do it, let's get on with it. Let's get the bumper off, let's get the headlight out, assess anything else underneath, straighten out that front panel, etc, etc, etc. Let's do it. Well, I thought I'd just get the mud off of it to start with. I've just given it a quick snow foam. I haven't gone mad. Obviously I haven't gone mad on this side at all. I just wanted to get the excess mud off, really. So yeah, put it back into position. So now it's time to do it. So unfortunately the ground is wet now and I've got to crawl around on it, getting the bolts undone. Never mind, should have got the bolts undone for and then washed it, right? Really. Okay, anyway, let's set you up on time lapse. Let's do it. as you can see, there was quite a lot of time lapse there. You may have noticed that the bumper is still on. The reason for that, and you may have seen me on time lapse, I'm not sure if I recorded it on time lapse or not, that was rounded off. I've tried to drill it out and I can't get it out. It's just turning when I try and remove it. It's just turning. It's drilling into it all right, but it's just turning, which is a pain in the backside. So I've decided, rather than fighting with it and potentially cutting it off and then still having to drill it out, we have actually got another one here as well, which was already gone. So I don't know when that one went. I don't recall it like that when I did it. But that obviously means if I take that one out and I can't get that out, that means we're down to 2 bolts holding it on. So I decided to leave it at that end. I mean, it makes life easier taking it off because I can paint it and that off the car. But I decided to leave it anyway. So I've got the DRL out. The DRL is okay. It's just the tabs. Only actually one of the tabs is broken. One of the tabs that wasn't broken was actually the tab on here. If I can get to it, that is broken. So it was actually put on with a cable tie just on that one. So obviously I'll redo that, which is a bit tricky with the bumper on, but I will be able to do it. Just be a bit fiddly. So I'll clean this up with a bit of elbow grease just to see how it comes up. Now, a lot of this, I'm not quite sure whether that's anything to do with the accident or not. Probably is. But I thought, I want to try and keep the painting of the bumper to a minimum if I can. So what I think I'm going to try and do, before I do any painting at all, I'm going to buff the whole thing. I'm going to cutting compound the entire thing. And see how it comes up. And I'm hoping, because some of these are scratches. That one obviously needs paint in it. But I think if I can buff the whole thing, or this side, well, actually I'll probably do the whole thing. Buff the whole thing, or cut back the whole thing. See how that comes out. If that all comes out, then I don't need to paint it. And all I'll do is I'll touch those in and use the new technique that I learned. Where, you know, touch it in, sand it, touch it in, sand it, polish it. Which I started to do on the white car out there, which has sort of gone on the back burner for a minute. And I'll do the same with the other bits. This corner I'll paint because that's quite scratched. But all the other bits, some of them will come out, and some of them, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it's like. I don't want to really paint all that and blend it. I'd rather just do it on the edge if I can, but we'll see. The wing, yeah, as you can see, I've straightened this to a degree. I've bent it, manipulated it, undid it from there, bent it a bit more. So I'm sort of looking at the other side and trying to compare it. I won't really know until I get the headlight in. The headlight, unfortunately, was completely destroyed. I've got everything out of the boot here because I was looking for the locking wheel nut key, which I couldn't find, and it turns out that it hasn't got locking wheel nuts. I think this was one of the ones where I started to take the locking wheel nuts off because they get lost. It looks like it's had new shock. I'm sure that wasn't on there before. Drop, link and shock has been changed. Whether that came up as an MOT at some point while they've had it, I don't know. Don't recall it being like that. I'll have a look at the other side as well. I imagine they'd done the other side. I think this bracket has escaped. It might have bent over a little bit, in which case we won't know until we offer up a new wing. Inner wing is fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's all in position. Is that tipping down a little bit? That one's straight. Actually, that may need tapping up because that is tipped over a little bit, which is probably where that's pushed. It's pushed that down. So I will release those again, get a hammer underneath and just tap that back. And as I say, that may need pulling out. I'm going to fill that up now just to make sure it's got no leaks. I can't see any cuts in it or splits in it, but the last one I changed on Project Katie was the same. I couldn't see anything on there until I started to fill it up and it came pouring out. So yeah, so I'd say I'm hoping to get a wing tomorrow, so I'm going to concentrate on this area today and see if I can get this bit done, and then hopefully we'll pick up that wing tomorrow and we can get that on. Still no luck with any doors. I've had a couple of messages, someone who was advertising a passenger side in this colour. I messaged them and said, have you got the other side? And they said, no, sorry, already sold. So that's a bit unfortunate. I asked someone about the other wing that I found for 50 quid. They're in Colchester, and I asked them whether they would be prepared to courier it, and then I just got a message back saying, we don't post. So thanks for that. So so far so good. So I have got a headlight, which I will obviously charge them for the replacement costs. Whatever the cheapest passenger side headlight, genuine headlight I can get at the moment is what I will charge them for, even though I've already got one. Right, we are coming along nicely. That bit there, that was the bit that was sticking out. I've heated it up, pushed it back. The paint was all cracked around it, or the lacquer was all cracked around it, so I rubbed that back. There was a slice just there. I've done that. I've repaired that bit with dolphin glaze, 2 coats of dolphin glaze. I've rubbed it all over, all this bit, so I'm going to paint all this bit here and hope it matches. And yeah, two lots of filler in there. Filler, rubbed it down, a bit more in because you could still see it. Primed it, and then I'm just going to block the primer down in about 5-10 minutes once it's dried, and then we're going to hit it with some top coat and hope it matches. As I've got more bits off, I'm just sticking this bit of board in. Sorry, I just put my hand in front of the camera. Sticking this board in just to mask it off a little bit, and hopefully by the end of the day this bumper will be back in good condition. So a lot of it was scratches that have come out. All those scratches, I think I told you before, all those scratches on the top have all come out, so we don't need to worry about that. As for the door, I've plumped for a door that's over in East London, and the dad of the girl who owns this car is not working on Thursday, and they sent me a message and said, if you need any parts picking up, he's available. So I've bought the door. It's a door off of an R bath, so it's grey with a black bit at the top. Now I don't know if that black bit is vinyl. It might be, or it might be off of a bi-colour car. I don't know. One way or the other, it's in the wrong colour, so it's going to have to be painted. So I'm going to attempt that, I think. Interesting. It's got a door lock. It hasn't got the coloured insert, which I've got. So which is damaged, so I'm going to paint it. It's just scratched. I'm going to paint that, but it has got the mechanism. So I don't. If that's the case, I don't even need to charge them for a mirror, and I also won't need to charge them for a door handle because it's got a door handle on it. So it should be just a matter of changing the lock, which is hopefully this lock is not knackered. Otherwise, I said to him, if it is knackered, we'll have to leave it, and then you have to get a locksmith at some point to repair it, because build a new one, adjusting the tumblers and so on, whatever it is that locksmiths do, which they can do. And I did speak to Roy, the locksmith, and he said, yeah, he could do that. I asked him previously about it, but yeah, at the moment we're getting there. I'm just going to run the heat gun over this, warm it up, block it down, and then run a heat gun over the whole thing. It's not cold today. It's about 10 degrees. It's not cold at all, but I'm still going to heat it up. It's not the ideal temperature, obviously, and then we're going to hit it with some top coat, or base coat, I should say. I always call it top coat. I think I've always called it top coat, but yeah, it's base coat, isn't it, really? You've got primer, base coat, and the top coat is actually, of course, the clear coat. So let's do it. Let's get on with it, and we'll come back again once we've got that first couple of layers of top coat on. See you in a bit. Right, that's the bumper done. I don't know if obviously some of you out there watched me on YouTube Live about half an hour ago, which was a new one on me. I've not done that before. I'll do some more of those actually. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be able to touch it. I did this, getting on for an hour ago. It's lovely and smooth. It's a little bit orange peely, very, very, a little bit. You know what? I could even get away without polishing that. I'm not going to sand it back. I'm just going to polish it. I'm going to use the 360. The only bit here is where I've got a bit of overspray, and I've used that fade out thinner. I'm not really sure how to use it, but I'm hoping when I polish that it will blend in, because I haven't polished this side at all, because this side is like new and lovely and that side is not. Colour wise it looks okay, it blends in all right. It's just that you can tell that that's new paintwork and that's old. So I'm hoping tomorrow when I give it a good polish it'll all blend in. If it don't, I might end up painting the whole bumper. That's just got some marks around it because I used some IPA to get some bits off that were on there, but I need to wipe that off properly. It looks fantastic. There's a couple of marks on it. There's one there and there's one there, and I will use the old paint dab in. I mean, they're not that bothered about that, to be honest, but I'd like to do it. You know, they said to me, you know, if you can get it, you know, a little bit okay, that's more than a little bit okay. That is fantastic. I'm so pleased with that. I can't tell you. That's why I went on to Facebook Live to do it. I only showed 2 coats on it, but that's 3 coats. And it looks fantastic. It is so shiny. It looks really good. So I'm going to do the door. I don't know if I mentioned it. I mentioned it on the live, if you've watched that. I don't know if I mentioned it on this video. But I've got a door. I found a door in East London, which is a different grey. I think it's probably the metallic grey, the same as the one on the other car. And it is got a black bit at the top, and I don't know whether it's black paint or whether it's a transfer. Excuse me. And I think it's got one of those strips on it as well. I think it has, which would be quite handy because it means I haven't got to remove the one from the other side and from the one at the back of this one, which is what I was going to do. So yeah, so the father of the girl who owns the car is going to go and get that on Thursday. I paid for it. I bought it on eBay and paid for it. 80 quid, really cheap. That's why I got that one. It was only 80 quid and it's a complete door, including the mirror housing. I think I've already mentioned this. Yeah, so that is, yeah, so that, he's going to go and pick that up on Thursday. And then we can get that on, I suppose. I don't necessarily need the door off to do this, but I think it would be easier to have the door off because obviously the door will open this way. We can get to all this bit, but not that bit. So I think I'll do that Thursday morning. He's going to pick the door up Thursday afternoon, and then so I'll get it by late Thursday afternoon, and then I can do that Friday, put that door on Friday. So if I can do this on Thursday and get this done, ready for the door, that would be good. And then we can get the new door on Friday. In the meantime, as I said, tomorrow I'm going to hopefully get a wing and a bumper, and that can be finished off at the front. So in the meantime, I'm going to have a go at this. Not necessarily this bit, but I'm going to do this bumper. I've repaired one bumper, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the wheel back on. I'm going to I can't turn the bloody car around, can I? I've got a van in my way. I'll just jack it up at the back here then, and get the back up in the air and get the wheels off. And I want to take that arch liner off, or at least get one side off, and get the arch liner out both sides. Well, no, I don't need to get it out the other side. I just need to drop it down at the rear to take the bumper off. We'll get that bumper off, and then we'll take the bumper out to the back garden and repair it out there, or down here, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you don't need to know that. But yeah, I am, so far, I'm really pleased. What I have been doing, obviously, during the day, this has been drying out as well, this clay. So I'm going to get the hoover out and try and hoover out all that clay and get all those leaves out as well. It's something that's got to be done. While there's no headlight in, I might as well do it, get it done. So I say this is still going to need some work on it, bending it back into shape. But I'll be able to do that once the wing's on, and I can offer the headlight up properly. I have offered the headlight up, and it sort of fits, but it's a little bit out. I think it's out on this bit where this bit goes in, so it probably is going to need manoeuvring. I mean, this is relatively flat here. This bit's not. So again, you know, once the bumper's in position, the wing's in position, we can sort of, you know, guesstimate as to where it's going to go. But that'll be hopefully tomorrow. So, because, as you can see, I've taken the paint off. Because this is double skin, I was able to get a tool up between the 2 layers with a screwdriver. Where it's gone, a screwdriver with some masking tape on the end of it. Got it up there and pushed it. As you can see, look, I can push. Now that inner skin will have to be tapped back afterwards. But I pretty much, a little bit extra needed there, pretty much, can't do it one-handed. Oh, sorry. You can see it moving? I can get it up there properly without, when I'm using 2 hands, but And with this bit here, I'm not sure, because of the way that this seems to close properly, there did seem to be a dent of sorts up there, and I managed to get a PDR rod. These are crappy PDR rods, but I've got some tape on the end of there, and I also pushed that up there, like I'm doing now, and I've pushed, and it has bounced out a little bit. We've still got a bit of a crown here, so I am going to have a go with some PDR glue on that, and obviously before I put this back on, I will get that up there again. But I think I'm going to skim this, because I've not touched the body line. The body line is absolutely fine, so luckily it fell on there and not gone above it. So based on that, I think that this is going to be okay. I'm going to do a skim of filler over it. We'll let it go off for a while. I've only got a couple of hours daylight left. It's probably about 3 o'clock now. This bracket hasn't broken, which is good, so I haven't got to replace that. Got to tap that back a little bit. That's not lined up. It's sort of, but I've got to get some filler in here as well. I was going to pull these out, but I don't think there's any point, because now I've managed to pull out most of it. I wouldn't get that in it. There's a little one needed there. That's the same one I was just doing, wasn't it? I'll pull that out. I'll get that out a little bit more. But I don't think there's any need to use that on here. I'll use it up on the A pillar, but I don't think there's any need to use it here, because I could get underneath. So that was really good. So yeah, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to get a skim of filler over here, and I was sort of thinking, I've cleaned that with brake clean. I'm not really sure whether that's the right thing, because it's not water based, is it? But I might go over with some water as well. But yeah, I reckon if I can get that skimmed today and possibly rubbed down, I could potentially get that in the first coat of primer. And I've actually bought some guide coat now as well, so I'll be using that as well. So yeah, I'm going to crack on. I can't film it all because it's just too much of it, and it would end up with 3-hour videos, but I'm going to do what I can, and we'll come back and see what you think. Okay, we're at the end of day one. So what have we achieved today? I think I've done pretty well today, to be fair. So as you know, the bumper is done. We have repaired the rear bumper. I've used plastic filler on there, bumper filler, so that needs to be rubbed down. It will without a doubt need some extra filler on it. We'll probably get some dolphin glaze on it. We'll then rub it down there, and we'll blend in round there. We'll get that whole bit done, and then I showed you earlier what we'd done there. That's all gone off now. Again, you know, that's going to need a lot more work, I imagine, but it's not bad, is it? Not bad at all. So, and then also lastly, I've taken all the paint off here, and you can feel all these dents. Massive one there, and a massive one there. So we'll get all those, the little key type things, and then pull it as one piece. On these ones, we'll just get one in there and then just pull it. The same goes for that one. But on these little bits, so all of this bit along here is quite pushed in, I think. And we have to go, I suppose, by this door. I think this door rubber. So if we can pull those out, and that door rubber is then level, then it should be all right. I could do it with the door off, with the door on, because I did open the door to do that. It's easier with the door off, I suppose. I probably will do that, and I'll probably do that Thursday. Although I don't know, I might do it. Depends how I get on with the rest, actually, because tomorrow, as I say, tomorrow I'm going to hopefully go and pick up this bonnet and bumper, bonnet and wing, and that'll be the first thing I'll do. I'll get that on. I've repaired the DRL, so that can go back into the bumper once it's been polished. I've got a plastic weld that still. Actually, I've been plastic welded that light. I should have done it at the same time. I forgot all about it. Yeah, so we'd do that, and then put the new headlight in. That's probably going to need some adjustment with that bar. You know, the bit of the slam panel. I'm sure that's going to need adjustment once the wing's on. But I can't do that until the wing's on, because that sort of is, you know, where the light sits. So we need to make sure that the light's sitting where it should be in the wing, and then adjust it as necessary. So it shouldn't be too difficult, hopefully. So once that's done, that'll be the front done. Potentially tomorrow. The front will be finished potentially tomorrow. And then I think what we'll probably do then is we'll move back onto the back. We'll get we'll get that rubbed down and get some dolphin glaze on that, and then we'll get that painted, and then we'll work on this again afterwards. We'll take that off to do that again. We'll work on this, we'll sand this, more filler, probably sand again, probably more filler. But finally it will be the dolphin glaze, and then hopefully we'll get that painted tomorrow as well. That would be good. We've also got to do this as well, so whether we can get all that done in one day, I don't know, but I've done quite well. So we've got some dents there we've got to pull out. So again, I'll probably take the paint off here and get the old machine. There's nothing in the door jamb. There's no damage there, thankfully. But yeah, that might be a little bit challenging to get that lined up. So same as this, but you know, we'll do it in the same way. Once this is done, it should be okay. I think once we've got it pulled out, we'll get a skimmer filler on it. Get that painted. So I'll paint from here. It makes sense to do it before the wing goes on, really, but the wing's got to go on, so I can just have to mask it. So we'll paint from here. We'll paint all the way up, and then we'll blend it in up here. I think I'm not going to paint all the way along, and then on here we'll do the same. I think we'll just sort of repair that little bit down there, blow it into the side, and then repair that and blow that into the top. And the bumper as well, of course, would probably paint that bumper at the same time. That makes more sense, doesn't it, really? Yeah. And then after that, we'll have a go and see if we can pull that out with the glue, hot glue, cold glue, whichever. As it's warmed up a bit, the cold glue might work. But yeah, so still a long way to go, but we made good progress today. Yes, so that is the end of day one. We might as well end it there. I think we've probably got enough for the first day. And seeing as we're going to be doing, excuse the wind noise, seeing as we're going to be doing, working on this every day this week, because it's going to take at least that long, we might as well do the videos day at a time. Tomorrow I've got to go over and collect panels, so there might be a slightly shorter video, or I might combine it with the next day. We'll see how we get on. But yeah, that's the end of that video. I hope you enjoyed it so far. Quite a lot done today, I think. Not a bad day. So yeah, as always, if you're not a subscriber, please click on the button, subscribe to the channel, give us your comments down there and give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.